Welcome to Rewatch and Rank. On this channel, we rewatch older TV shows, provide a summary and opinion on the episode before ranking each episode against each other. And today's episode is One Punch Man Ova episode 11, Game and Rivals. The episode in a nutshell is just a brief reminder of what happened within this episode. So in this episode, Genos and Saitama arrive at a venue where we learn that there is an online tournament for a new martial arts game that is going to be taking place at multiple venues, and all of the venues will be linked to have basically a virtual tournament amongst all of the locations. And Saitama enters but is defeated very quickly because obviously his real world strength doesn't translate into video game strength. And so in the end, he just has to watch the other players. We see Garo and Suryu, who also are fighting, and they make it to a semi-final match as a wolf and a dragon avatar. But due to Garo's speed, he causes a glitch in the game, which then leads to Suryu winning, and then it comes down to the finals, which is Suryu versus a lady koala, and basically Suryu is defeated very quickly, and they're all like, wow, this must be a skilled martial artist. And then they find out that it was actually a handheld player, not a VR player, that won. And then when they come on stage, it's King with his mask and his hat on to like hide his identity with some shades, who basically says, I guess I was just too strong, and is named the winner. And now that we've been reminded about what happened, it's time to rank the episode, and as always, we'll be ranking on our mostly objective ranking list, followed by the personal ranking list. So, for this episode, I felt like the only thing that I could think of from this list that might apply to the episode is world building, and that is because ultimately it is a video game tournament that combines you can either choose to play handheld or through virtual reality. And Garo and Suryu both do virtual reality so that their martial arts skills can be used in the game. However, King, who is very skilled at video games, decides to use handheld and ultimately ends up winning. But the fact that they have the technology for this integrated video game tournament, and that even in a world of heroes and monsters there can be video game tournaments, I thought was a nice little piece of world building, which makes this a 4 out of 10 episode. And so that brings our overrankings so far on our mostly objective list to Road to Hero First, the murder case that is too impossible, the sisters who have too many things happening, the ninja who is too complicated, Saitama and the mediocre ability users, Game and Rivals is this episode and it comes in 6th. Then we have Bang, who is too overbearing, a shadow that snuck up too close, the pupil who is an extremely poor talker, going fishing with middle-aged men, and then Genos and memory loss. That now brings us to my personal ranking. And while I do like the concept of like a video game tournament using martial arts and whatnot, I also didn't really think much of the episode. I wasn't even really entertained. Like, it's a 10-minute episode, and we were about like halfway when I was checking how much farther we had to go in it. And while I do like that there was a couple of cameos from Suryu and Garo who did play pretty significant roles in the second season, and King we had been more introduced to this season and his love of video games. So I do like that those characters kind of got their spotlight in this little OVA, but at the same time, I'm like, do I really care about these characters that much? And ultimately, did anything really worth noting happen? There wasn't even much comedy at all. I wasn't I wasn't a huge fan of it actually. Um so I gave it a 2. I gave it a 2. And that now brings our overrankings so far for the personal ranking. In first, we have A Shadow That Snuck Up Too Close, Saitama and the Mediocre Ability Users, Road to Hero, The Murder Case That Is Too Impossible, The Sisters Who Have Too Many Things Happening, The Pupil Who Is an Extremely Poor Talker, Genos and Memory Loss, Bang Who Is Too Overbearing, The Ninja Who Is Too Complicated, Going Fishing with Middle-Aged Men, and then this episode comes in 11th, Game and Rivals. Bringing us now to our final segment, which is our series ranking so far. And on our mostly objective ranking, we have 88.33% for Season 1, Season 2 at 74.17%, and the OVAs so far have earned 40 out of 130. Meanwhile, on our personal ranking, we had Season 1 at 76.67%, Season 2 at 65.83%, and then the OVAs so far have 48 points out of a possible 130. And with that, we've rewatched and ranked One Punch Man Ova Episode 11, Game and Rivals. Like and subscribe if you'd like to, and I'll see you in the next episode.